He was a toolmaker, a coach, and a school board member. He loved his family and many kids that were not in his biological family. He gave of his own time and supported many endeavors. When his time had come to be with the Lord, he had become a well-known and well-liked man in a small town in which he lived. He was Dennis Ray Hancock, and this is his story. He was born in Hannibal, Missouri on June 14, 1957, to Jack and Dee Dee Hancock. He had an older sister named Jane and a younger brother named Scott. Dennis moved to Monroe City when he was in grade school and lived in his home, which his nephew now lives in. As a teenager, Dennis enjoyed hunting and fishing. A mutual friend introduced Dennis to Cindy White from Hannibal, Missouri around the age of 17. They were married June 24, 1978 at Oakwood Methodist Church in Hannibal, Missouri. Dennis and Cindy moved to a home in Monroe City right around the corner of his boyhood home. His career of over 30 years was made as a toolmaker working with Die Makers Continental Casting in Monroe City. Dennis and Cindy had 2 children, Beth and Brian. As the children grew older, they became interested in different sports. Since Dennis did not know a lot about softball or pole vaulting, he became a student and learned as much as he could. The Hancocks had use of a family farm north of town, where Brian and other pole vaulters would practice. This has become a great memory of the family.
My uncle, Dennis Sorensen, had a farm out in the country. He had this old machine shed. It was a barn, and there was farm equipment, and there was hay, and probably some animals in there at one time too. And he would get, so he was kicking the rafters. There's marks on the rafters where his spikes would mark the ceiling as he jumped. And
some of my most fond memories are when we would be at our family farm north of town, and we'd be pole vaulting in the barn. We spent a lot of hours out there, whether it be in the wintertime when it was 0 degrees outside, warming our hands up next to the kerosene heater before I vaulted, or during the summertime going out and vaulting beside the barn in the heat when we had ducks and geese running around everywhere and cutting us off down the runway. And it was a lot of good memories of just training out there and learning from him. So.
Beth became a polished softball pitcher, and Brian an accomplished pole vaulter, both continuing on to the collegiate level. As his own children grew out of high school sports, he still supported them in their college endeavors. Plus, he continued to work with younger kids who wanted to pursue their dream in a sport. His passion for helping others and watching people succeed became evident in his volunteer jobs, from serving on the school board for 14 years, announcing and keeping score at high school softball and basketball games, coaching 5th and 6th grade basketball teams and Hannibal Gold softball team, giving pitching lessons, helping at the Missouri State High School track meets, and even participating in the Older Men Basketball League. It was evident Dennis enjoyed life and giving back to others. Dennis was a jokester. He enjoyed people and having a good laugh.
We had this big rock out. I mean, it was this
pretty heavy though.
Like the size of a basketball, a real heavy rock, and it looks kind of like an egg shape. And it was sitting out in front of the yard, in the front yard one day. And my dad called my kids over and said, "Guys, a dinosaur laid an egg in our yard last night." And he told them every day they have to come over and pat this dinosaur egg so it'll hatch because the mama left it. And so my kids did. Every day they come by and they pat this dinosaur egg.
Oh, one year he went on a trip when he was hunting. There's like 4 guys went to Colorado, and one of them was fixing a baked potato on the fire, had it wrapped in foil. Well, Dennis thought he'd be cute. He'd gone away from the camp for a while. Dennis took the potato out and wrapped it in a rock into the foil. And the guy came and he kept turning it and turning it and turning it. Finally, he's like, "This thing is not getting done." He opened it up and found the rock.
He liked to kid the lady pole vaulters and say they couldn't jump. He made a bet that if they all made it to state, they could paint his fingernails. The picture tells the rest of the story. In 2011, Dennis became ill.
He played basketball with the men over here in the gym on Sunday nights, and he got so he couldn't run down the floor. He was short of breath. Went to the doctor. They did EKGs thinking it was his heart. Then when they did blood work, that came back that he had anemia or he lost some blood. So then they got to see it, check in to see why he lost blood. And then they ordered the colonoscopy, and that's when they found the colon cancer.
Monroe City showed much support for Dennis and his family. He still made time for his family and gave as much love to his grandkids. Dennis continued to work as a toolmaker and do his volunteer jobs until his illness became too much. He passed away from colon cancer on August 21st, 2015. He may be gone, but his legacy lives on. He left an impact.
Dennis was one of the most influential men in my life. He taught me so much about working hard and putting your mind to something and putting in the time and the effort to achieve your goals. And that has spilled over into my adult life with school and with my job. He has taught me that there isn't anything that you can't do if you put in the time and the effort to get it done. And I think one of the things that made him so likable to people is that he just he never doubted anyone's ability to do great things.
Dennis had a substantial impact in my life. He was like a second dad to me. We'd go on long trips, pole vaulting, and we'd always have good conversations, and he was really a mentor to me because not just with pole vaulting but with life as well.
The Hancock family continues the passion for giving back to the community and helping others. This can be seen in events such as Donkey Basketball, which raised money for scholarships and after prom. They even started a pole vaulting clinic to help others learn the sport.
We said, well, let's get a scholarship started and we'll, go with it there. So we had the scholarship started, and then we want to think of ways that we could keep that funded so that we could give scholarships for years to come. And there's just one thing that Dad enjoyed was pole vaulting, and Brian is a good coach of that, so we wanted to use our skills. And
have something where we come in and hold a clinic for kids, and all their proceeds go towards a scholarship that we later give back to the community. So.
Most recently, Dennis's oldest grandchild, along with a school friend, wrote a book about their grandparents.
Brady and Cameron Hayes both lost a grandparent within about a month of each other, and they were in first grade. And I think this was just their way of dealing with or remembering their grandparents. It started off just at recess one day. They were going to write a book. They were drawing pictures and talking about their grandparents, and they decided they were going to write a book about their grandparents. All of the money that they make, they're going to donate back to a person or organization that helps with cancer.
Wow. So this is the girl who said you should write a book?
Yep.
Yeah? And
At first we never thought it would be published. Yeah. And then Neil Miner said that we can have it published.
Okay. And so you guys wrote stories. I haven't read your book yet. So is it a story about your grandma and grandpa?
It's kind of like a timeline. Yeah, kind of like a timeline.
And tell us your favorite memory about your grandpa and your favorite memory about your grandma.
Seeing him at track meets.
Okay.
When we brushed her wigs before her.
So why did Dennis devote his life to giving to others?
You just love kids.
Yeah, just love kids.
I think there had been some people in his life too that had given up a lot for him and helped him along the way, and kind of that was his way of giving back to people. And I know that for Brian and I, there was a lot of people that had given their time and their energy toward us, and that was kind of his way of thanking the community for doing that for us for all those years.
I always told all those kids, make sure you give it back someday to someone else, as he helped them. So.
Dennis will never be forgotten. Those who have had their life impacted by Dennis will give back to their community and help others throughout life. Dennis Hancock will always be in the hearts and lives of the people he came in contact with.